Hi, my name is Rishabh Singhal.
I'm Rohan Sharma.
I'm Parth Garg.
Our team number is 38. So the basic topic of our project is behavior change modeling. And we are working with a company called Care and Grow. Care and Grow is a startup based on making a preventive healthcare system based on COM theory as a framework to identify the behavior to be changed. Our project is to build a web application for a startup, Care and Grow, as I said earlier, based on a preventive healthcare system for two different types of entities. The first type of entity is a group which is targeted together, which have a similar set of attributes, and another type of entity is a single person, a specific person whom we target specifically.
As for young children, we have developed an interface which will be followed by the group of individuals in the school's environment under direction by their teachers. The next type of group targeted is a group of college students, and the behavior change is to be targeted against substance abuse in young adults. It is meant to show steps to be followed to prevent the group from indulging in substance abuse as a whole instead of particular individuals. Both these type of targeted groups have an element of social behavior which will be targeted.
As for the other type of groups, it's not a group actually. We have to target the individual. Like for the group, we have a social element. So the social element is like not say prioritized for one particular individual, but like a general overview given for all the entire group. So it might not be like the best way, but it will work in general. And for the other part, we have a module for individuals. So basically, in the individuals, what we need to identify is first, for a specific given health module, we have to identify the behavior to be changed. And for this thing, what we do is first we pose the user with some questions. Those questions are like we have prepared a set of those questions. Our client has a set of 40 questions for which they have an application already built. But for our questions, we are building an app from scratch where the questions are not as static as theirs are. So what we have done is we pose the user with some starting questions, and those starting questions will give us some data which we will process to ask the next questions, which might be based. No, it will be based on the previous questions data. So the thing is, the questions to be asked, which will be asked later on, will not be like fixed in nature. So suppose I say like I have an income range of say 40,000 per month, then I'll have a different set of questions. And suppose I say like I have a income range of like higher income range, then I might have a different set of questions. And even so, like for my age, for my physique, I can say, suppose I'm fat or suppose I'm not thin, I will have a different set of things. So based on those different parameters, we'll have a different. So what we need to identify is the behavior to change. So for one specific health module, we have multiple behaviors which can be changed to change that particular attribute. So first we identify the behavior, and next we identify the person to be targeted. Like it might not be that the user is always the person to be targeted. It might be that some parent or some friend of the user is some person who actually the main person who's causing an effect in the user. So we need to identify that person as well. And next to that, after like identifying our target, what we need to do is based on the user's preferences, we need to identify the effectiveness of the behaviors. Suppose say a person in living in unhygienic home conditions, he might not have better hygiene in home, so he might have some option which is not as specific for person who's like living hygienically, but has a different problem which might not be hygiene, but instead would be some other health related issue. So what we need to do is we need to identify the behavior to be changed, and as for the behavior to be changed, we map it to certain for the particular behavior, we have 4 parameters. Like they are based on the target's physical and psychological capabilities, and also their like social physical opportunities, along with their like uh, motivations. So, like they might be automatic in case the person is self-motivated, or it might be some kind of peer pressure. So the thing is, we need to identify that as well. After we identify that, what we'll do is we'll select a specific method based on their the parameters. Like there are a lot of parameters. We mostly focus on educational, or say the method, the type of method for that parameter. We focus on that. So the thing is, we have a set of like 5 to 10 different parameters. They're like educational, persuasiveness, incentivize, or like restrictive in nature. So the thing is, first we need to identify that as well. And in the end, after we identify the behavior, and for the behavior, we identify the specific method they need. Suppose a person is fat, or suppose he goes to office, and what he needs for health might not be someone like who's in school and he's also fat. The school person may do exercise because he may have time. Those are his preferences. But the office going person might need to go to a gym. So that is the difference between saying the parameters and the functions they are applied to. So yeah, and the methods to be applied are implemented on that. So the application we are building has a specific implementation, which Parth will say.
So for the implementation of the requirements to build a responsive web application which has 2 types of users and a section for group guidelines. There must be administrator interface which will exist as a front end to add more targeted behaviors and add more relationships for the existing behavior modules.
So the thing is, we have a Python Flask backend which we will build, and for the relational database and the actual calculation of the score will be in Python. We'll use some modules in Python along with some artificial intelligence which our client has. We'll just need to integrate it in our application along with the application with the database of Neo4j. So in Neo4j, what we have is like a very flexible database system. So what we need to do is like identify this problem, which might and the questions. The questions might lead to some next questions, which are like different for like what you answered. So based on the options, and those options will like have a different, like this is just a dummy, but actually when this will be implemented, it will be like a graph, and we might have different health issues which might have same implementations. And as for that, that's how we implement it. And right now what we've done is like as for our client, we have been following the requirements, and next thing what we need to do is to make a framework for children who suffer from who do substance abuse in colleges. So those college going students for them, that's like a group activity to be done, since we are not targeting those who have been affected, but we are trying to prevent that from happening. So the thing is, you need to make that, and like after that, the interface which is like being built. So we base like execution plan is like still to be discussed, because our client has like some heart disease which he had, so he has a bit delayed, but it's fine. The client said like they will do it, and the questions added to the database would be provided to us by the clients. So that's just what we need to add. And as for the part of login, we'll add a login interface, but that login interface will be of 2 types, one for normal user and one for an administrative user. So the normal user will have the individual components, group access thing would be publicly available without login, and the administrator would be allowed, would have a front end to add all the features to the database. And yeah, yes. Yeah, and we also will have a reminder system to remind our users like what they need to do. So our client already has a uh, WhatsApp automation API built in the existing application. They said like they'll provide it to us and we'll integrate it in our own application. Like, and we will send automated emails and message reminders based on some message providers. And alarm feature has to be active. To also be implemented, and also there should be one reminding feature like by other people. Like it might not always be better like we say already the system to remind the people. So it might be better like we remind some other person to remind that person of what needs to be done. So yeah. So that's how we'll implement the application. So the front end, back end, Flask, database, and
New
no.
New 4G.
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.